ArsenalFanTV, DT, very disappointing today. Is there any player in that team that you would consider for the first team, going on a performance tonight?
No. Simple as that. Even Jack Wilshere had a poor game. I'm not going to get too into them. The only consolation we get is the result went our way the other game. So we finished top of the group, which means that we can't face anyone from the Champions League that drops down, and we can't face any seeded teams like AC Milan and Lyon and whatnot. So we should get a fairly decent tie. But we are getting to that stage now where if we want to win this, we're going to have to start bringing some of the main players in.
But there were some main players in there.
Yeah.
Welbeck, Giroud, guys like Coquelin, El Neni. Even Debuchy's a senior player, Mertesacker.
I'm not making no excuses for it. You can't even blame Arsene Wenger today. You really can't. You've got to blame the players. These are players that are supposedly knocking on the door, that are trying to get into the first team, but they really didn't cover themselves in glory today, did they? So they've had some good results along the way at some tough places in the Europa League so far, but today was just really, really poor. It was flat, it was slow. The crossing, the passing, Francis Coquelin's passing is just awful. It was very under seven-like. Simple passes with no one pressuring him, and he couldn't pick the pass. It was like they were falling over. El Neni was taking corner after corner after corner and not beating the first man. And the only time we looked a little bit dangerous and woke up was after the goal and Reece Nelson come on. That was it. But apart from that, I can't make any excuses.
And the disappointing thing is, for me, right, the two away games we played against Batty, Borisov, and also against Red Star, I thought they were a better team than these lot today.
At the end of the day, let's be real, Cologne are a poor side and they're bottom of the Bundesliga for a reason.
They haven't won a game in the Bundesliga this season.
Exactly, and there's a reason for that. And they didn't do a lot to beat us. I'm hearing the penalty was not a penalty.
It looked soft, didn't it?
But let's not make excuses. At the end of the day, the players, I've been very critical of Wenger when he's done things wrong. Today, the players have to take responsibility, and every single one of those players have to look at themselves and say, you know what, we were poor. We didn't do ourselves any justice, and I don't know, they're going to have to go out and do something to rectify that, aren't they?
Does it have any bearing on Sunday?
No bearing whatsoever. There was not a single player that played against Spurs that was out there today. They should be all at home, fresh and ready. And Sunday's the game where we can judge Saturday's result. We can't judge today on Saturday and everything. I see people online are using it as an easy thing to have a go at us and say, typical Arsenal, they played like they did against Spurs and they go into this game. There was not a single player playing that played on Saturday. If we don't put in the performance on Sunday, then you can start to ask questions. But
going forward in this competition, right, we want to win it, yeah?
Yep.
Right, now, is he going to be able to continue with these type of teams or, and let the sort of first team players put their foot up ahead of a game? Or is he going to have to start strengthening it up a bit more, especially when you come away from home to these sort of places?
He's going to have to start strengthening it up, because once we start getting the teams that are dropped down from the Champions League, and when we get teams like maybe Lyon and AC Milan, you can't go out there and play that team. You can't. It's suicide. We'll just end up being humiliated. And the players that are playing in the first team at the moment, they're having a lot of rest at the moment. They're not playing in any Carabao Cups. They're not playing in none of this. So they're getting nice week-long breaks at a time, apart from the odd Premiership game that might come in midweek and whatever. So throwing a few in there and making it stronger, it can't do any bad. Maybe not play the full team, just dependent on who we get. Let's see who we get and then look at it at that time. Maybe the first leg, he might play a slightly weaker side to see how it goes. And then, but I don't know, we move on. I've got to drive back home, haven't I? That's fun, isn't it? And we go to Burnley on Sunday, and like I said, that's the real test, where we can see how far we've come from Saturday's result. But we move on, we're top of the group, we've completed our objective, haven't we? So Europa League, here we go.